Jim McBride, welcome to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. Not as warm as you guys, but I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Now hold on just a minute. I left Washington, D.C., and I don't know how it is in correlation to Boston, but you guys had some pretty decent weather up there. I was sort of shocked, to be honest with you, when I got off the plane on Thursday. It was like in the 60s. Not too bad up there, though.
Better this week than last week when we had a foot of snow, but still nothing like 75 and sunny, that's for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so we want you to help us understand what Alabama is getting in their new offensive coordinator because now, once he's announced, he'll go in hibernation because Nick Saban doesn't allow his assistant coaches talk to the media, so we won't hear from the guy for like a year. But help us get to know the new OC at the University of Alabama.
Well, that won't be much of a change for Brian Daboll because Coach Belichick doesn't let his assistants talk much either. We get them once during spring camp. We get them during the bye week during the season, and then we get them, when they make the playoffs. So we get them all 3 times a week. But what I can tell you about Brian, he's a very high energy, very smart guy, very adaptable guy. He'll use every weapon he has on that roster, and he'll get the most out of them. He's worked as a receivers coach, a quarterbacks coach, and as an offensive coordinator in the NFL, and the last couple of years as a tight ends coach with the Patriots, where he's helped, groom Rob Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett and a couple other guys into, really helping to reach their potential. So you're getting a very adaptable, very smart guy.
Would you describe his lean? I mean, is this guy a run first guy? Is he a pass first guy? How would you describe his ability and sort of play calling and sort of offensive mindset?
Yeah, I think he leans a little bit towards the run game. I know as the tight end coach with the Patriots, he had a hand in helping design the running game for Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator up here. And the tight ends are asked to do a lot in the Patriots offense as far as pass catching and run blocking. I mean, there's no kind of specialized guy in that offense. You've got their 2 tight ends from this year, Gronk and Bennett, were both excelled in both areas, and that's what he expected. So I think he is kind of a run-first kind of guy, but if he's got the talent on the outside or in the slot, he's going to use those guys too. Very, very smart guy.
All right, I don't know if you realize this, but you just made everybody in the Alabama Nation smile because we've lost 2 national titles with lack of running the football. And you've had the workhorses in the backfield. So, Jim, I don't know if you realize this, but you're now going to start getting Christmas cards from Bama Nation because you just gave him some great news with a little bit of a run-heavy guy.
Happy to do that. Yeah, he's gotten. I remember when he was the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins, he got a 1,000-yard season out of Reggie Bush, and that wasn't an easy thing to do because Reggie was injured so often, but. He also got 1,000 yards out of Brandon Marshall, the receiver, that same year. So, definitely a run-first guy, but not afraid to mix it up for sure.
So when we talk about what Brian Daboll would bring, it seemed like if Josh McDaniels would have got a head coaching job, I mean, was there any truth that he would possibly be the OC there at New England if Josh decided to move on?
Yeah, I believe that's the popular school of thought up here, certainly among myself and some of the other beat writers. We're not always right, as you know, but a popular belief was that Brian would have been the heir apparent for Josh if Josh had taken the 49ers jobs or if another job had been offered because, he's very trusted by Bill Belichick. This is his second go-around with the Patriots. He was with them when they won their first 3 Super Bowls early on and then took a couple other jobs elsewhere, and then it's been back for the last 3 years to win another 2 more Super Bowls. So very, very highly respected by Coach Belichick, and just a really smart guy. I know Coach Saban said that in the release yesterday, but he wasn't. That wasn't just hyperbole. Brian really is a smart guy, and where else I think you're going to enjoy this guy is on the recruiting trail. He's a very outgoing, very personable guy. And I think that's going to be a hit when if he has to step into a young man's living room and try to convince them to come to Alabama.
Well, and I was reading that today, BostonGlobe.com. We're talking to Jim McBride. He is the Patriots beat reporter there. And I was reading that in your article. To me, if that personality, then you walk out with 5 Super Bowl championship rings, to me that grabs a lot of 16, 17, 18-year-old kids' attention. I know it wouldn't mind if 5 Super Bowl rings came in my living room.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to talk to a young man and say, look, I've been with Tom Brady for the last 15 of the last 17 years, and I've taught LeGarrette Blount how to run the football and helped groom Rob Gronkowski. I think that's going to catch a lot of kids' attention. That's for sure.
When you look at him as far as how do the players describe playing for him? I mean, the guys that you get a chance to talk to and the guys that serves as their position coach.
Yeah, they love this guy because he's always so energetic and he's constantly giving them feedback. I know before the game, Brian goes through a little ritual with almost every guy with every guy on the field, I should say, defense or offense. High-fiving him or giving him one of those bro hugs or maybe tapping him on the helmet. But he makes sure he's in contact with everyone on that field during pregame warm-ups. It's also a tradition that defensive coordinator Matt Patricia takes part in too. So they love this guy. They love his energy. He's, unlike Coach Belichick, Brian kind of wears his emotions on his sleeves on the sideline during the game. I mean, he's going to be out there getting fired up when they score a touchdown. He's going to be the first guy out there, especially if it's one of his tight ends. So I think he's more in line with Coach Saban that way, where there's never going to be a doubt in your mind of what's going through his head at any certain time. Whereas Coach Belichick is more of a stoic kind of guy. But I think he'll fit in well with Coach Saban.
Right now here in Tuscaloosa, there is a true sophomore and there's 2 true freshmen that just arrived this semester on campus. We're a little bit concerned about quarterback development. Should we be?
Well, I think that, when Brian was the quarterback coach with the Jets, he was able to help groom Brett Favre into learning their system after Favre had been retired and came out of retirement. So he certainly has a really good understanding of the quarterback position and what it takes to be successful there. So I think that I don't think you should be worried. I don't know how much by watching Jalen Hurts this year, I think you guys are in pretty good shape for the next couple of seasons anyway. But I think that Brian is certainly going to be a strength in that area to help develop young players on offense. And certainly the quarterback position stops there.
We are talking right now to Jim McBride. It's the Boston Globe as we move forward. I'm just curious, looking at a Nick Saban system here in Tuscaloosa and looking at the guy that you cover there at New England, Bill Belichick, do you see a lot of similarities between the two programs?
I think, I think the stability and consistency is certainly something that they kind of mirror each other. I remember talking to Dante Hightower. I'm sure your listeners remember quite well and are quite fond of. And we asked him during media nights before the Super Bowl. He said you played national championship with Coach Saban, Super Bowls with Coach Belichick. Are these guys similar? And he said they're very similar in a lot of ways, but the big difference is you never know what's going on with Bill on the sideline. He's not a guy that really gets too demonstrative. Maybe once in a while with a referee here and there, but with Coach Saban, you kind of know where you stand at all times. And I remember that standing out to me was the big difference between the two. But I think stability and knowing who's the boss is probably their greatest common denominator.
Jim, I'm just curious if you could tell us how big of a priority it will be for the Patriots trying to get Dante Hightower signed there in New England.
Well, I think it's priority number one. This is a defensive captain, was voted by his teammates this year. Such a smart guy. Where's the green dot on defense? Lines up everybody, make sure they know their assignments, they're in their lanes, they've got their responsibilities down. But more than anything else, I think this guy is just such a clutch player. You look at the last 2 Super Bowl victories by the Patriots, and he made the play before Malcolm Butler's play against Seattle, stopping Lynch at the 1. He came out of nowhere and made that play, huge play. And then he really made the game-changing play a couple weeks ago against the Falcons when he strip-sacked Matt Ryan. So I think that's he's got a lot of tangibles, but Dante's got a lot of intangibles too, and I think he's priority number one.